It's another beautiful day to be alive. It's so gorgeous out here. If you are seeing this kind of weather near you right now, get your ass into nature. Keep me on your phone or whatever device, but get your butt into nature. This is a topic I've discussed in the past, and it's one of those topics that's so important that it really does require a lot of videos to really nail home. It should reach as many ears as possible. So we all know that we want to improve our lives, right? A lot of us, we start by trying to get rid of bad habits. You know, you may be addicted to porn, junk food, video games, scrolling, drugs. Might have drugs. And being someone who's been addicted to all of these things and has found a really difficult time most of the time trying to just drop them, let me give you a bit of advice. The reason it's so hard to quit these things is because your life sucks. These things are like band-aids to cover up a lot of wounds that you may have accrued in life. Or you may be experiencing these sorts of pains and agonies right now. You know, you may be in a rough situation. You might be in an abusive relationship. You might be at a job you hate. You might not be getting enough sun. You might be struggling so bad that the idea of letting these things go is daunting. So, what you really want to do, instead of subtracting all of the bad habits first, is you're going to want to add the good habits. You're going to want to add those. You're going to want to saturate your life with the good habits, the clean eating, the exercise, the going out into nature, the socializing, making more friends, the coming out of your shell, really. It's way harder to quit the coping mechanisms when the thing you're coping from is still there. See, a lot of the bad habits, a lot of the addictions, they are best seen as symptoms of a much deeper issue. It can all be put under the umbrella of bad mental health. And that can be caused by a number of things. I've always noticed when I really hammer home my mental health, when I focus on and try to fix my mental health, a lot of things come along with it. A lot of things become just much easier. I used to be in sales, and I really, really love sales. I still love it. I always had a hard time relating to people growing up. I had a hard time in school knowing the right thing to say or knowing what was appropriate or inappropriate to say at any given moment. And I still have trouble with that. But I knew that I needed to teach myself how to interact with people. So I got into sales, and sales was really fun. But at the same time, it was taking my soul away. It was taking the best hours of my day away. I was sitting there, I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to make money off of what I generally just wanted to do, not off of something that made someone else rich. So I took a risk, you know, I took a lower paying job that had a lot more free time. As in, no one breathing down your neck, not a lot of expectations. My employer literally told me to bring a book, bring something to study, bring something to do, because you're just going to be bored sitting there. There's going to be a lot of downtime. These jobs exist, by the way. And I highly recommend, if you're anything like me, you get them. You don't realize just how just how powerful and just how much you can do with yourself when you just free up your time. Don't feel guilty about making money from doing less. That's the general goal we're looking for, is making more money from doing less effortful things. Let me correct myself. You're not doing less. You're doing what comes naturally to you. See, being here, teaching people things, racking my mind by racking your mind, that comes naturally to me. I could go off for hours and hours. And it's genuinely what I'm looking to do. So I brought it into my life. By any means necessary, you know? I obviously want to make money from this, but also the primary objective is to just impact people's lives. I always wanted to spread a message of hope and love. That's all I wanted to do. That's the goal I set for myself. That's what I decided was the reason I'm here on this earth. So I just decided to do it. And from that point forward, it became a lot easier to stop scrolling, because I knew the more I scroll, the less attention span I would have, the less intelligence I would have, the more my mind would be messed up and the worse the videos would be. So that's just one example. That's just one example of adding. You want to add to your life before you subtract. There was a study done, which you've probably heard of before, but I'll reiterate it in layman's terms so people can understand. Basically, they had a group of rats, or was it mice? Who cares? There was a group of mice who were given 2 bottles of water in their cages. One of them was just regular old water, and the other one had heroin in it, or was it Coke? Doesn't matter. Those rats would drink the drug water until they died. And a lot of people looked at the results of that experiment and they were like, oh, well, yeah, of course, you know, it's an addictive substance. Why wouldn't they? And someone came along and said, wait a minute, you put them in a empty enclosure with nothing in it but these 2 things. Of course they're going to go for the heroin water. Of course they're going to go for the most stimulating, most exciting thing. And that's kind of the way you got to look at yourself in life, is you're one of the rats stuck in a cage with nothing really to do. They call it the rat race for a reason. You're in a cage with nothing really exciting going on, and then you have all this junk pushed in front of you that's hyper palatable, hyper stimulating, extremely favorable in the moment, but long term it breaks you down and it kills you. The second half of this experiment, they decided to make what they like to call rat utopia. They gave them plenty of colorful toys to play with, lots of friends, lots of mates, they could have all the sex they wanted, plenty of food and water. And they also put the normal water and the heroin water in the cage with them. They didn't touch the heroin water. They did. They tried it out. They tried everything out. But they didn't take it to the point where they completely just killed themselves. After a certain point, they preferred the socializing. They preferred the playmates, the toys, the normal water. After a certain point, they just completely ignored the heroin water. And again, you got to look at yourself like the rat. Now, I know, I'm not an animal, but you got to look at yourself kind of like you're that rat in the cage. You got to enrich yourself. You got to give yourself better things in life before you can get rid of the things you know are bad, but are kind of just the only good things in your life. I remember times when video games were the only good thing in my life. It was a rough time in school, man. I mean, I didn't have I wasn't good at making friends. I was one of the special kids, if you know what I'm saying. And video games were the only things that made sense to me. I didn't really have hobbies. I didn't really like. Maybe I did martial arts a couple of times, but the social aspect made me want to leave and all that stuff. And I didn't really understand. It felt like a hopeless situation. It felt like gaming was the most sure way I would get any semblance of fulfillment in my life. When in reality, I just had to enrich my life with other things, books, friends. Even if it was uncomfortable, I would just go to the mall and I would practice eye contact with people. I'd be like, okay, go to the mall for the sole purpose of one, getting used to environment, just public spaces, environments, and also making eye contact. And then maybe, hey, how are you? Hi, I like your shoes. Hi, this, hi, that. You got to be gentle with yourself in this process. It's so difficult to see a way out of the cage. It really is. But there's a way out of the cage. And you can give it to yourself. You owe it to yourself. So go out, do something new, do something fun, and you'll see how much easier the bad habits are to drop. And that's all I got. Bye-bye.